Welcome into Bearcats Daily, everybody. As always, I am your host, Blake Thornton. I appreciate you joining me here today. Some kind of fun things have gone on since we talked yesterday. The biggest one, ESPN, TNT, and the College Football Playoff did release the schedule and kickoff times, along with channels, for the College Football Playoff coming up. Kind of an interesting setup, and then we're going to discuss after this just the layout and how things are structured. But what we're looking at here is the first round starts out on December 18th. That is an 8 p.m. primetime game on ESPN. And then on December 19th, the very next day, there'll be a game at noon, 3:30, and 7:30. Those will be on ESPN, ABC, True TV, HBO Max, the usual channels. So no really surprises there. That's the first round. Then you go to the quarterfinals. Remember, there are buys in the college football playoff for teams. The quarterfinals will be December 30th. It looks like the Fiesta Bowl will be the kickoff of the quarterfinals there. That game will be at 7:30 on December 30th. And then there are 3 New Year's Day games starting at noon, 4, and 8 p.m. They have not released yet what bowl games that will be, so we'll have to wait and check on those for you. Semifinals will be the Capital One Orange Bowl. That'll be on January 14th at 7:30 p.m. January 15th will be the All-State Sugar Bowl. That'll be the other semifinal. That'll be at 7:30. And then, of course, the National Championship will be held in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, January 25th at 7:30 p.m. Now, one thing you might notice, and I really want to hammer this home because this is something that has just bugged the ever-living daylights out of me. The Ohio State-Michigan game is the last game of the regular season for college football. I'm using this as an example. I know it's not an Ohio State channel. I'm just using this as the example. So everyone, bump your brakes. We'll get there. You're going to like where this goes. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving, typically you have the game is what it's called. Ohio State, Michigan, last game of the regular season, last week of the regular season, I should say. Then the following week is usually the conference championships, and then it's the bowl games. So we are talking about the end of November ends the regular season, right? End of November, going into December. And we're looking at this playoff list, and January 25th will be the last day of the college season. Basically, last weekend of November, and the playoffs run through January 25th. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? There is no reason it should be that long of a season. That just shouldn't. Like, as a fan even, I'm sitting there looking at that. I'm like, that's just too long. There's a 2-week gap between games at some points. And everyone's like, well, how many games do you have to win to make it to the championship, to win a championship? Well, if let's say you don't get a bye. 1, 2, 3, 4. You win 4 games, you're the national champion. Those 4 games take place over a 2-month stretch, essentially. From the beginning of December to the end of January, you have to win 4 football games. What in the world are we talking about? That is an outrageous amount of time. Now, the other side of this argument is going to be, well, it's football. They need a break. They got to prep. I'm sorry. You play weekly football games through an entire regular season. Don't use the excuse that, oh, we got to have time and blah, blah, blah. It's not for that at all, guys. I'll tell you exactly what it's for. Let's say UC wins the Big 12 this year, and they go on, they play, and they get an upset win in the first round. They go to the quarterfinals, right? And it's at a bowl stadium, obviously. They do host in the first round. There's no bowl games played in that. They host at the higher seed stadium. Then some bowl games start hosting for the quarterfinals and on. The only reason it's that many weeks is because they got to make all the product. They got to get the new turf. They got to paint the field, make sure the school colors match. They got to get all the merchandise and gear made to sell. It's strictly about money. That is all it's become. And of course, you're all like, well, no, duh. We all know it's about making money. Really, though, is it? Student athletes, college, and we're talking about money? What in the world has happened to sports? Like, what are we talking about? It's strictly a money grab to extend it this long so they can make as much money out of merch and getting all that stuff done. There's a reason why the NFL playoffs, I mean, I know they have a 2-week gap between that and the Super Bowl because they do the Pro Bowl first now. That's a whole nother issue. But there's no reason we should be that long. And then you're like, well, what about all the other bowl games? Okay, great. They still play them regardless. You're still going to play them. The bowl season used to be New Year's. New Year's used to be the biggest day for bowl games, essentially. A New Year's Day bowl game was the creme de la creme for when it was BCS. And now we're going into the end of January for football? Come on. Please, y'all, I would love to hear your thoughts on this issue that I have with this. I'd love to hear your opinions. Please put some comments in about if you believe that we're going too deep into the year for college football. I just don't see the reason the season needs to be that long. It drags out. It really just, it's hard to follow, even if your team's in it or not. There's too much time, okay? NCAA, let's tighten it up. And we'll talk about more down the road, 100% on this subject matter, because it really absolutely is ridiculous, if I'm being honest. But yesterday we did bring up that there is a recruit out there who was decommitted from NC State, Camarion Johnson. He originally in February verbally committed to North Carolina State. He has since withdrawn that. He had 13 offers on the table from NC State, schools like Alabama, another highlight there. Florida State gave him an offer after his visit. Florida as well. And UC is on the table. He is coming to visit us there as well. The kid himself is an athlete. He's also a two-sport athlete, been playing basketball for years. I like two-sport athletes, not just because I used to be one, but it really helps you hone in multiple aspects of your game. I'm a bigger guy, so being a lineman, we're not always the fastest, but then I would play basketball. That helped me get my footwork, get, agility, balance, coordination. So when I see multi-sport athletes, especially if they're succeeding in multiple sports, that just bodes well for me as a coach because I think, okay, this kid's got multiple assets to his game. He's not going to be a one-trick pony. He's going to have that coordination, that agility. The guy can jump out of the building. He's a great runner, a lot of interceptions, very strong hands. I do like that. He's only 6 foot as a safety, but man, can he go up for a football. So it's really going to be a nice dynamic to have him in. And as a freshman, that gives plenty of time to build him. He's a 3-star recruit, which is where UC thrives. Boy, do they thrive, and we're going to get more of that in just a minute. So I'm really hoping that we get him to sign with us after he gets through with his visit because this is a kid that we can develop and really bring him up to just a high level. The kid's athletic as all get out, and you can teach that. You can teach and build a position around athleticism. Kid's a freak of nature, and I'm very, very, very excited to have him in town, and I'm hoping they don't let him leave without giving him an offer. Now, obviously, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, but we want good guys in the building, and UC has been known to take 3, 2 single-star recruits and just lift them up. And I'm going to give you some examples of that here. Let's start with just the low-hanging fruit in terms of UC history. The Kelsey brothers. Neither one was highly recruited. Jason was a walk-on. Travis was a quarterback that they put on the scout team. They didn't even need a quarterback. Now look where they're at. The strength and conditioning coach for Jason said, you know what you'd be? You'd be a great center. And the rest is history. They put him in. It was like a duck in water. They coached him up, got him prepared. And even though he was undersized, one of the greatest centers to ever play the game. Perfected the tush push, in my humble opinion. I can never say too many good things about Jason Kelsey. So we'll have that one. I'm going to go into another example. And this one's going to be a bit of a red herring, but stick with me. Brendan Sorsby. Some people might be shocked by that. Brendan Sorsby was a scout team quarterback for Indiana University. Wasn't playing. He played one game. He transferred to UC. Now, is he talented on his own? Yes, obviously. He was a D1 quarterback. There's got to be talent there. But during his time at UC, he was elevated to I would say, top 10 quarterback in college football. Some may say top 5, being 5th or 4th. They worked him at UC. They built him up. If he was naturally that talented and just started that way, he would have been a starter at Indiana. It's not that hard to start on Indiana football. Well, pump the brakes. It used to not be hard to start at Indiana because they weren't a football school. Last couple years, kudos to Curt Cignetti, you built up a squad. So, not making fun, but just speaking in fair terms here. But Sorsby is another example. I'm going to give you another one. And this is a name that is going to be very recent. I think a lot of you are going to agree. Ivan Pace Jr., our inside linebacker that played 1 year at UC. He played 3 years at Miami of Ohio. He was a 2-star recruit, and he was ranked, I believe, 142nd in terms of the recruiting class for interior linebackers. 142nd. Played 3 years in Miami of Ohio. He played 3 years, played well. I've seen the film. I don't think he did horrible. But he's at Miami of Ohio. He comes to UC for 1 year. Let me just be clear about something. In that 1 year at UC, he becomes a unanimous All-American. The American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He was a Dick Butkus Award finalist. He went undrafted, but after being picked up as an undrafted free agent by the Vikings, guess what? He's now one of the core linebackers for Minnesota. He's a starter. What more could you ask for? Now, you're going to say, well, UC, that doesn't mean UC is the reason why he's there. No, but I think UC plays a huge part in that. Historically, UC has taken under-recruited talent from hotbed areas like Ohio, Texas, Florida, Georgia. All these places where blue blood schools, Bama, Florida, Georgia, Longhorns, Oklahoma, where they all recruit from, but they're finding guys that are under-recruited, that they got overlooked by these blue blood schools, and they're building them into NFL draft caliber players. So if you're a player and you're watching at these schools and you're going around saying, well, it'd be cool to play at Alabama. Lord knows everyone wants to wear that scarlet and silver up at Ohio State and put the Buckeyes on their helmet. You know, those stickers they get if they chew a piece of gum the right way or they draw a pretty picture for the coach. Lord knows you can do anything to get those stickers. They can see that. But if you're a player who is not a five-star recruit, who may end up sitting for 2 years, possibly 3, depending on how deep, and then go in, play a year or two, you're not going to have a lot of film. It doesn't mean you can't get better and work in all this. Or you look at a school like Cincinnati. It's a smaller school, not very big in the spotlight, but look, they're in the Big 12 now. They got out of the athletic conference. Yeah, by the way, a unanimous All-American, and he was the Butkus Award finalist in the American Athletic Conference back then. Let's be honest, nobody was looking at the American and thinking, wow, that's a strong conference. UCF had a good couple years. UC, great couple years. Pretty much it. Houston was there, but they never really, made waves in the upper echelon of teams. So, you look at Ivan Pace coming in and knocking that out in the AAC. Now you're in the Big 12. You have all these new facilities, all this money coming into the program. Why would a 3-star, 4-star, 2, I'm not saying 5 stars, I'm removing them. But if you're a 2, 3, or 4-star recruit and you want to play and build and get yourself a name and put it on film and get to the draft, UC is that school. Marty Gilliard. That's a name I bet you a lot of people know, but a lot of people haven't thought about. Marty Gilliard, when he was recruited out of high school, some metrics had him as a 0-star recruit. His grades were not good. He was actually suspended from UC and kicked out. He lived in his car, working 4 jobs. Brian Kelly brought him back, got him reinstated. He was kicked out of school. I think he cheated on a test. Nothing good. Nothing good, Just I'm not going to beat him down. He was a kid. He made mistakes, so be it. But they knew about it. That was part of his recruiting. That's why he wasn't recruited. Brian Kelly brings him back. They coach him up. They throw him in. They don't quit on the kid. The year they go 11-3 in 2008, they win the Big East. A lot of people remember those years. He has 81 catches for over almost 1,300 yards. He had 7 100-yard receiving games and 11 touchdowns. And then he gets drafted in the 4th round of the St. Louis Rams, 99th pick overall in 2010. Played for the Rams, Eagles, and Jets. As a returner, he had a couple catches as a receiver, but his speed and agility, they used him as a returner most often. He was never recruited. Let's be honest, most would never have even thought to give him another chance. But UC saw something in him at the time. Brian Kelly saw something in him. They brought him back. They got his head straight. They reinstated him. They coached him up, and they got him to the NFL. That's what college is supposed to be about, getting guys to the NFL and building talent every single year. My job as a coach every year, I would tell my players this. I am not going to care about wins and losses right now. Now, remember, I coached 8th grade. I was an 8th grade offensive and defensive line coach. It's middle school. What's the job in middle school? My job is to get players ready to go play high school ball. That was my job in my head. I didn't care about wins or losses. If my guys were better than they were the first game to the second game and so on, I was doing my job. And by the end of the season, if I could say, yes, my guys got better and I prepared them, that to me was a success. And college used to be that way. College was about getting guys in the building, student athletes, get them an education, and build them up to try to get them into the NFL. And I think we've kind of gone away from that. I think now it's about making money in college, and if you get drafted, great. That's why guys are playing 5, 6, 7 years in college. I know there's the COVID rules and all that, but why else would they stay? Because they're making money. It's not the same. Get guys like Kamarian in the building. He's a 3-star safety. Can never have too much defense. Show him around UC. Put it on the table for him. Be like, listen, we are a school known to get guys into the draft. You're not a 4 or 5-star. Your name is not going to carry much weight at this moment. We know who you are. Your talent and your effort on the field and what you've done has earned that. But guess what? That's not enough now to get in the NFL. So come here. We'll get you up. We'll hopefully get you to the NFL. It would be amazing to be able to say, yeah, you know what? We may not have won the national championship. And UC did when we lost to Alabama. They got 9 guys drafted to the NFL, though. Unheard of numbers for UC. A school that once handed out free football tickets or made you pay a discounted rate for football tickets if you bought basketball season tickets. To a school that now produces, I would argue, the best average NFL drafted players for every non-blue blood school. I know we're getting really nitty gritty here, but I truly believe that. And it shows. UC takes these guys that no one's ever heard of and builds them up, and that's such a good recruiting point that I hope they're putting it out to these guys. We'll get more into the recruiting side of things as time goes. Obviously, we're just, we don't talk for 3 hours a day on here, and Lord knows we could. But this guy has UC in the top 3 schools that he wants to go to. And there are other guys as well. We'll get into more and more of those as time goes, but he's one I wanted to focus on because his name's been recently with him dropping NC State and putting UC there. Let's get him in the building and let's put on not our best face, our true face. And that is, we are going to build you into an NFL talent. You may not make millions of dollars here, but you're going to get an education. You're in a great city, historic city, at a historic school that can get you where you want to be. If your goal is the NFL, UC is the one to do that. And I hope, boy, it'd be cool if they showed him this video to get him to sign. It'll never happen, but one can wish, right? I wanted to end today's show, though, not just ranting about, college, the money and all that, but I wanted to end it with a little bit of a prediction. People are starting to put out their college football playoff lists about what they think is going to happen. It's very early. Fall camp hasn't gone on, so those lists really mean nothing. But I personally am going to this is just 1 through 12, what I think the college football playoff will be. Now, you can like it, you can not like it. That's fine. It's just an early prediction that we'll eventually revisit and see how we did. I've got Ohio State as the number 1 overall seed this year. I think Indiana, even though they did get a lot of recruits and transfers back this year, Mendoza left and some other guys, it's hard to replicate. It is hard to have a dynasty like Bama did where they were just in it every year. And even though Cignetti's a great coach and he's got that heat behind him to bring guys in, I'm just not buying it for Indiana. I think Ohio State wins the Big 12. I got Oregon as the number 2. Oregon's a dominant team. They got a heck of a recruiting class the last couple years, and the coach is amazing out there. Look at Oregon at number 2. Texas Longhorns. I went back and forth on this so much. I think I got Texas as the 3 seed. I don't believe in Archie Manning, but I got him at the 3 seed. Miami Hurricanes as the 4. That'll round out the first 4 teams in the byes. Number 5, Notre Dame, who seems to have a pretty easy schedule this year, so they should dominate. And Notre Dame always is going to get an at-large bid because they don't have a conference and they have an NBC contract. There's money. Notre Dame makes playoffs. I got Indiana as the 6th seed. I think not winning the Big Ten, the at-large bid, is going to come into play. Got them at 6. Georgia. Got Georgia getting in there at number 7. That defense is tough out there. They got experience at the quarterback position. It's going to be tough, but Georgia gets in a tough SEC conference. Next up, I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Even without Sorsby, that team is very deep, and that defense is solid. They are going to win the Big 12, unless BYU can just pull through and get there. Give me Texas Tech at 8. 9, I got Texas A&M. Texas A&M coming in. Obviously, defense is still amazing there. Cassius Howell, the Bengals drafted here in Cincinnati. They lost a little bit, but they're coached up. They're very deep, Texas A&M. Rounding out the final 3 teams, LSU as our 10 seed. LSU getting in there. Oregon, oh, I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to try. Oregon, however you pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. Coming back into town, I think gives them a nice boost. They get in. I got Michigan as the 11 seed, and Florida getting in by the skin of their teeth. I was back and forth between Boise State and Florida, so I went with Florida to get in. Obviously, things can change. It's going to be a long season. We don't know what will happen. Time will tell for those. So I appreciate you joining me here today. I know we really got into a little more of thoughts and feelings on things, but that's what I really want the show to be, as we find different ways to kind of discuss and topics that are going to generate discussion. So please, I definitely want to hear if you disagree with any of my points today. If you have any of your own opinions you want to share, make sure you put them in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, and we will be discussing things again tomorrow. Appreciate y'all joining me today. Have a good one.